Welcome everyone. My name is Manish Shah. I'm the Midwest chapter lead of HSCRF. In my day job, I'm professor at Lake Forest Graduate School of Management. Let me introduce today's holistic science expert. Dr. Sailesh Mehta, or we call him Dr. Sailesh Anandji, is a practicing ophthalmologist who owns a hospital in Vadodara, India. From his childhood, he was curious about the deeper truths of life. He came in touch with self-realized holistic scientist Sri A. M. Patel, and through his grace, Dr. Mehta attained self-realization in 1977. Dr. Mehta is a celibate and is deeply experienced in the field of holistic inner science. He devotes his time to studying, researching, and spreading the message of holistic inner science. In his quest to spread the message of holistic science, he has traveled to countries such as USA, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. His speeches on holistic science have been well received at national and international conferences. He's the author of several books which include Introduction to Holistic Science and Integral Living and Science of Liberation. Welcome, Sailesh Anandji.
So my greetings to all the holistic science listeners. There's echo, so somebody has to mute it. And those who are conversant with this holistic inner science journey may be knowing that in holistic inner science, we try to touch upon various facets affecting our life and living in such a way that that correct understanding or knowledge will empower us or enrich us, leading towards a happy, harmonious, meaningful inner living, realizing our inner potentials and making best use of it, and traveling towards our ultimate aim or goal of life, knowing and achieving it. So in that journey, today we are talking about the power means strength of the mind. If we look around all over the world, so many researchers, psychologists, behavioral therapists, and many people have been studying, researching, have been interested in mind, its functioning, how best we can use the mind. Also, the people talk about subconscious mind and power of subconscious mind, how one can use subconscious mind to one's favor to achieve the various things in the life. With that in background, if we look at the holistic inner science, how the mind is formed, how the mind functions, and what is the strength or the power of the mind we can leverage for our relative means day in, day out living, as well as our inner living and our own bliss. So before we start the journey, let's understand the mind. And mind has two parts. One is the gross mind or effect mind or the discharge mind. Another is the causal mind or the subtle mind or the charge mind. Both has its own unique strengths and unique powers. That's why I just wanted to make it clear that let's understand both parts of the mind, gross mind or the effect mind, and how we can use the strength of the gross mind as well as how we can use the causal mind or the charge mind for attaining our purpose or aim. Now, when we talk of the mind, we are aware that the drivers of our life or the drivers which is driving the body is our inner self, which people says mind, but includes mind, reflective consciousness, intellect, and ego. But let's here discuss as one unit. And again, we can see around in the world that with the so-called determination or the strength of the mind, even with a handicapped body, the people have been able to be successful in winning the race or climbing the mountains or achieving whatever they wanted against all so-called odds of the circumstances or the nature. So here is the science that when the mind is tied to a goal, a purpose, I want to do this, and the next step is I can do this. Now, how we can have that confidence I can do this, will in that will also explore some natural rules affecting the our joining our determination or decision and the outcome. So that will give us the additional strength, because the mind basically is built up by the knowledge or the understanding part, and which makes the mind strong. So here the mind has a science that once it is decided in the inner parliament, all the inner energy, whatever my inner energy is there, now starts flowing in that direction for achieving that. The inner understanding opens up, the inner abilities help, and the nature is all there to help. Nature says, I am ready to help. You need to have the input or the clarity of your decision, determination, and the focus. And from within and from without, everything comes to our help to have that purpose or goal. So as I said, once inside the decision or the determination has come, and especially if it has a proper motive or intent. If my intent is making millions of dollars, also nature will help, but then there will be some other factors coming in between. But if my intent is to earn so that I can be able to help the people, I can be able to have so many things which will be helpful to the people, it will be all the more fruitful. So the decision or determination with proper intent, and now inside and outside, all the energy is ready to help me. And if we go back to some scriptural stories, there is a story that Eklavya was there, and even though he was denied the direct teaching, with the power of mind, with his decision, he could attract it because it was there in the universe. So whatever is there in the universe, with my inner strength, I can even draw that, and I can attain or achieve that. So this is the power which the mind has, and even the outside world knows and says that you decide. They say you hand it over to your subconscious mind, but that's a different story. The holistic science says that conscious or subconscious mind both are the part of the gross mind, and the causal mind will discuss as we go in a step ahead. So having known this, I should make up my mind in the worldly language, or I should decide my focus, and then I know the natural rules, that what's in my hand and what is the nature to do. So here I'm said that once I have my projection and my decision, and I remain sincere, I work hard, and then I pray. I pray because my egoism should go away, for the nature to help me properly. So now the nature works on my projections. My projections go to the nature like a land computerized system, and the nature gives me the circumstances according to my projections. So with that in mind, if we see, Gandhiji decided to make India free, a very frail body person. He had a very limited strength as far as the body was concerned, but he has tremendous strength like a Himalayan as far as the mind was concerned. So the holistic science says that in a present time, you should aspire for the strength of mind and strength of speech. It's okay if the body may have a lesser strength. It should be healthy enough, but the required strength should be at the level of mind and then at the level of the speech for you to achieve the extra things. So with some such examples, he just decided, and rest of the things, all the volunteers and the people participating, all the nature brought them together. So one purpose, one decision, one focus, and the nature helps you for rest of the things. Part 2. In the journey, there are going to be some obstacles and some testing challenges. The ordinary mind will be shaken up there. Not better leave it now, I can't do it. But the mind who is clear, the mind which is clear and also knows the rules of the nature, will not be shaken up. So the holistic science says here that the mind should have 3-4 good qualities. Number one, it should be steady, rock steady like a Himalayan. In whatever the odds come, if it remains steady, the secret is, if it is not shaken from within, nothing will go wrong outside. If it is broken from within, the things will go bad or will be broken outside. So if I am watching myself that, okay, my mind and my inside is steady, sooner or later the things will fall my way. This is another secret I'm sharing of the nature. As long as the inside is correct, the outside has to be correct sooner or later. If inside is broken, beware, outside the storm will break you. So when the odds come, I just came across one book. The tough times do not last, but the tough people do last. So that says the same story, that if my mind is steady, if my mind is clear and steadfast to the aim or goal, all the odds will go away, and the things will come my way or it will become successful. So every great people or great soul has remained like that, be it a Nelson Mandela, be it Gandhi ji, be it Mahavir, whatever initially. And here there is another vision, that the positive understanding part, that these difficulties are vitamins for me. Favorable is food and unfavorable is vitamin. So once I realize that difficulties make me more clear, more stronger, more focused, and it's then my mind will not be shaken. So mind, along with the decision and determination, needs the proper holistic understanding of the natural rules also, so that it can travel against all odds which come in between before the aim is attained. So to attain aim is of course achievement, but the journey, I would say, is a bigger achievement. To travel or go along in a journey is, I would say, a bigger achievement or a bigger truth. So this is how, and inside there is a real self, which is power of infinite knowing power, infinite seeing power, infinite bliss, and infinite energy. So no sooner the mind or the inner self is decided, from within also all the knowing, seeing, understanding, energy, everything starts flowing, and from outside the nature also helps. Having said that, let me come to the more important part of the causal mind or the charged mind. The people try to label it as a subconscious mind or secret. The book says that whatever you project and you are attracting, but it's a partial truth. Holistic science reveals the total truth, that my causal mind or the subtle mind, where the new blueprints are being laid down and how it is being formed, my state of being as I am, and whatever I perceive to be true and get convicted and sign as yes, there I'm drawing atoms and molecules from outside. They are being stored on the inner hard disk, and the causal mind is being formed throughout the life, and it is physically connected with the natural regulatory system through atomic and molecular configurations and codings. And the natural regulatory system, where all the inputs are going in, has the function of delivering the results at the appropriate time. So at the appropriate time, this natural regulatory system will bring together the circumstances based on my fed data or my projections, and at that time I will get the thing. So the most important part of using the strength of my mind is if I know where I'm charging, what is the charging point, how the causal mind is being born, and there I'm totally free. So if I use that relative free will to properly decide my aims or goals or what I want to have in life, then it's very easy to do that and get connected to the nature and nature to deliver the results. So this is the more easier and the most important part of the strength of the mind, that you are whole and soul. You are the creator of yourself and you are the destroyer of yourself too, in this perspective, that living as I am, I have the power to do the drawings. So once these two parts are clear, gross mind and how the strength of the gross mind can be leveraged or used, power, and the causal mind or the charged mind, and how best I can use that relative free will. And if I want to attain the permanent bliss, then if I know who am I, then I know my real self, and then the real free will start, or the real powers will open up. So I think with this basic background, we are open to more discussions. But the world doesn't know the part of this relative free will. There has been long been debates and discussions and gray areas about what's in my hand and what's not in my hand, what's fate and what's free will, and always there are gray areas. And whatever the discussions or the knowledge put by so-called scholarly people doesn't really guide the common man properly. Whereas the holistic inner scientist or the holistic scientist knows the clear line of all these things, and puts forward in such a simple way that even a common people gets the very easy way or a path or a guiding light, so that he can use the power or strength of the mind, as well as he can use his or her own relative free will and can aspire for the real free will.
So Swamiji, this is a great introduction to mind. One of the things that has come up in even Eastern literature and even Western literature is you can influence other people through your mind. Is that true from a holistic science point of view?
Yes, absolutely. So yes, you can. So here the meaning of influence is something like this. Suppose I give you the example. Rajchandra, in his short lifespan, had the decision or the desire or the focus that this correct holistic knowledge must spread throughout the world and everybody should get benefited. Now, his lifespan at that time was short. In his lifespan, he could influence few people, but the nature is great. In one or other form, nature takes further this goal, and the same aim is being carried forward. I think we are also part of that in one or other forms. So, influencing is in two ways. Number one is my vibrations. My see, mind is a physical thing. Let me first clarify that. And even the science has proved that. There are so many scientific researches that thoughts are physical things and they have effect on the physical outcome. There is interaction between conscious and matter. Bill Tiller in Arizona and Marilyn Squills. There are many scientists who have proved this. There was an intention experiment. An empty box was taken. The 6 expert meditators were called and they were asked that if you have really the powers, you charge or give the command to this box in such a way that when the box is taken miles away, it should be able to raise the pH of water by 1 without physically adding anything. And scientists noted that it did happen that way. And next time they were asked that now the pH should go down by 1, and it also did happen. It's recorded. So meaning thereby, except the pure self, the rest all thing is in the form of atoms, molecules, and energy. And even the quantum physics has come to this conclusion that it's a wave energy or whatever they say. So this, once I'm deciding something, this energy and waves get generated and they travel or traverse in the universe, and more the powerful and more the clearer they are, they will enter and affect the other minds. So it is known as now universal consciousness. People have started talking about universal consciousness, and the holistic scientists know these secrets. So sitting in their room, they carry the whole movement throughout the world, even if they are not physically going everywhere. Sitting here, they send the vibrations and waves and they affect thousands and thousands of people. That is one way it gets influence. So the second important part is, as I said, I am deciding something. It goes to nature. Nature works for the cause, and the people who are more or less interested for that cause all come together. How are we few coming together? You were not knowing me, I was not knowing you. It's the cause of holistic inner science and originating that brings the people together. So it's an indirect influence. The nature brings the people together based on the cause. So you can say it is influence, but in other way it's a natural mechanism of getting the things done. So there are so many aspects or facets about each happening or each aspect of the science, and when it is understood in totality, it's a beautiful picture which comes out. The quantum physics has also come out with the thing that we are all interconnected. And they proved by the experiment that when the two atoms or molecules, once they were together, now taken miles apart, the behavior in one atom or molecule is being reflected into the another. Similarly, the humans are also interconnected. Their projections are interconnected, good or bad. Both has influence on the people who are the takers. And second is by the natural mechanisms. Okay.
Yep.
But before that,
go
yes.
ahead.
With that, I'll just add, when I was saying the power of the mind and power of bhav or projections or decisions, if we go back and see all the great souls, let's take Lord Mahavir's example. It is said by the scriptures that the projections or decisions which he had laid as a seed some time back get fructified in that particular time, and it's having the influence and utility and beneficial even today after thousands of years, and it's going to last many thousands of years. Similarly, Rajchandra, Dada Bhagwan, Gandhiji, any great soul you take, even scientists, I would say, how do the scientists get inspiration or a strength? They just put the some focus. Okay, I want to know the secrets of nature or in this field, and then from within also the light comes, from outside also the things come, and it gives them the strength also that after 200 or so many failures also Thomas Alva Edison was positive that okay, we have not failed these many times, but we have known that these many things do not work and the next thing will work. So this is how the things are working.
Exactly. They had the vision, a positive vision.
Yeah.
So I have a follow-up question to what you just said. When Thomas Alva Edison, he failed whatever 999 times before coming up with the tungsten filament. We also undergo the same kind of experience in our life. We make a resolution, but then, I'm talking about myself. I am clouded by negative thoughts that, oh, I can't do it, nothing's happening. So what should one do in those kinds of circumstances so we stay focused on our goal and do not create interference in the natural happenings that we eventually want to happen?
So here again, I'll go back to basic that along with our resolution, I will first check my intents or motives. What are my intents or motives? Is my intent smartly do the business so that the money starts coming from other to me smartly? Then the other fellow will also have somebody to save him. Okay, some smartness will creep in up. But if my intents are clear, the first benefit holistic science says is I get as soon as I decide, and if my intent is to help somebody, to care for somebody, to give happiness, to make a product which will be useful to the consumers, to see the interest of consumers, colleagues, stakeholders, shareholders, leave aside the eventuality. I will start gaining from that moment. It will give me fulfillment, it will give me inner happiness, it will make my aura positive, it will give me positive signals on my functional MRI. From the moment I will start gaining it, eventualities is a second part. So that will start giving me the strength to remain focused to my goal, along with the things that, okay, how the nature works. And second thing, somebody nicely said that we have so many things within, and the whole experiment is going within. I can't do it. The people say you can't do it. You have failed so many times and you are losing and wasting. All these negatives we also accept. But as against that, if we look inside, I have the abode of infinite potentials and infinite energy and knowing and seeing light. So I have to convert that I can do it. Why can't I do it? I am able to do it. That's the first step, and not by arrogance or not by ego, but by understanding, knowing my intents and motives. And if my intents and motives are correct, no matter by the way of happenings, I may fail. The world may say you have not been able to deliver, but it has been delivered within and without the efforts itself. See, the holistic science says first your decision gives you the benefit, then your efforts give you the benefit, your journey gives you the benefit. The eventuality or the outcome is the result of so many scientific circumstantial evidences coming together, and I'm not bothered or worried about that. And again, something has not gone right, it has given me the lesson. The failure gives me the lesson and gives me the new light, and stand up and go again. I do, all the surgeons do have complications in the surgery. There is no single surgeon in the world who has not made complication. But then it starts the inner turmoil or inner research, how better and best technology, means skills can be developed so next time it would not happen. And that's how the best surgeons have come up in the world. And there is a line in our surgical textbook that the surgeon who doesn't have any complication really doesn't operate at all.
That's true. So, yep, there is a story, Swamiji, in parallel in the business world. There is a very successful hotel chain called Four Seasons, and what they say is they create a glitch report or any problem report every day, and the day that a manager doesn't have a problem, He
Manager is
gets
not on
fired.
duty.
Exactly. So it's exactly what you're saying. That means they didn't try hard enough, or they didn't notice, or they were not serving their customers to the best of their ability. Because they have to fail, in some areas. There is some area of improvement. So I love what you said. You have to have a positive vision as to what's happening, regardless of the eventuality of your goal. There are so many things that happen during the process. Those are the learnings we should take to heart and keep at it until we reach their goal, but not just focus on the eventual goal itself, but the process that we are going through.
So along with, if I can add one or two more things, I
Sure.
was uh, I was reading the and going through the outside people saying the what is said in the book Secrets or You Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and little unfortunately, everybody is focusing on gaining the material possessions. You want to get a car and you want to get a bungalow and have the visualization. Fair enough. But my question is, after seeking all material possessions which you all have more than required in USA, are you really happy? So are you in search of happiness, or are you in search of more and more belongings or the possessions which will create some botheration one or other time? So along with the knowing the power, one must know the holistic inner science visions also. That if I'm looking for happiness, is happiness in abundance of the material possessions? Enjoy the possessions you have. There is no negation. But really the happiness at the level of the heart comes when I decide to make someone happy. So even Bible says it is blessed to share rather than to possess. Even Vivekananda said those who live for others really live. So everybody says those who are obliging others are really happy. And here is a science that whenever I decide to oblige or help or share or care or something, do something for somebody, I am the first beneficiary. Happiness starts from within for me. Before obliging others, I am being obliged myself. Before helping others, I am being helped myself. With that understanding clear, if it is coupled with my whatever I am now deciding to do, I think there is nothing which can come in my way literally, and the things will fall in its place properly. So if one is seeking to use the power of mind for happiness, one must first understand how and where and how, from where the happiness and how it comes. And for the real happiness, which is independent of circumstances, one should look at the permanent source of or core of being, that is, who am I? So always and always understanding has to be coupled with all this knowledge, or the trying to use the strengths what one has. And today the people have been using the power of position. Whatever the position, you are a dean, so you have power to fire somebody under you, whatever. Or or the people may have positions in the politics, and whatever the position, husband has a position, wife has a position, parents have a position, whatever. So power of position, power of wealth, sometimes muscle power, these powers are being used in the world. But the holistic science recognizes inner powers, and with the correct understanding leads you, even a common man, effortlessly to have the best in both aspects of life, interconnected living as well as inner living.
So, Swamiji, we have a question from one of our viewers. He just
Sure.
posted this through the chat because he's not live here. It's from Rajnikant Patel, and the question is: you mentioned in the talk that our mind should be very steady, should be rock
Yes.
solid. Um, but his question is, when he's sitting quietly, the mind is wandering all over the place. It's not focused. So is what is the prescription to maintain that steadiness, that rock steadiness that you mentioned?
So here the understanding is, as I said, we are talking in by the word mind, but there is a whole inner machinery: mind, reflective consciousness, intellect, and ego. So the mind has a function of showing different thoughts, and the reflective consciousness goes in and out and moves at various places. What I'm talking is, once the mind, reflective consciousness, intellect, and ego, which is under the influence of my beliefs and opinions, which is under the influence of my anger, greed, pride, deceit, which is under the influence of my intents and motives. So once all the couple together, the decision has come, okay, I will work for spread of holistic science. Then that decision, the mind may be showing me very few people are coming or more people are coming or whatever, but the decision is clear. It's like a navigating light for a ship. You have that navigating pole, and that decision is there, and the understanding is there, and I am anyway getting benefited, even if the people are getting benefited or not. So that always remains as steady, that focus. And even though the mind goes here and there, it is again coming back, and the inner self remains in unison with the goal and goes ahead. That's key one. The key two, when the mind shows the wavering thoughts which are not in line with our aim or decision or the goal which we have put in, ignore them, allow them to pass away, and get along or go along with the things or sign with the thoughts which are in line with our aim or goal. Ignore the other thoughts, sign, unless I sign it as yes, the mind cannot drag me. So I have to sign the thoughts which are in line with my aim or goal. And this is how the great peoples have gone. Any movement you see has started with a single person against all odds. For many months, many years, very few people come together. But ultimately, the movement takes a very big shape. Even Dada Bhagwan, holistic scientist A.M. Patel, lovingly known as Dada Bhagwan, was a single person. And for years together, there were very few people. But he was going on because he was knowing the science in full. He had the clarity. The third aspect, I should have the clarity of my vision. When we talk of understanding, it's a vision. If I'm clear in my vision and clear in my intents, then he was doing from within, as we were saying, influencing. He was doing from his home, small home, spreading the vibrations all across the world. And gradually over the years, few more people came, and the vibrations are still working today. So this is how, once I understand discover the world within, that's our main aim of holistic inner science. Discover means understand the world within, how it's functioning in line with the nature, natural laws and natural regulatory system. So then I'm always I can always remain steady like a Himalayan. Along with, the mind should have three more good qualities: compressibility, flexibility, and tensile strength. Compression means in a adverse circumstances, it can remain compressed. Again, it becomes normal. It's compressed and goes through, again it becomes normal. It can take any compression which comes onto it, be it from outside, be it from within, from circumstances, but doesn't get break down. That's the compression strength. Flexibility, it gets adjusted like a fountain of water running and bypassing the stones coming in between and making the way. That jet of water even makes cows the hard rocks and goes through. So that is the flexibility. And tensile strength, it can take any tension and again can become normal. So these are some few things which the qualities the mind of the holistic scientists do have.
Sure. So I think with that, we're going to move to the first question from our audience. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So Swamiji, during this discussion, what I gather is there is a direct correlation between inner clarity and strength of mind, and that helps to influence. So my question is, how do we apply this in our day-to-day life, especially and help out and influence our family members, immediate family members? When I say influence, especially young kids, and for a good cause, and develop a inner strength which helps them to develop a inner clarity which helps them to develop a strength of mind.
So very good question, as such a broad question. So holistic inner science is a practical science, starts with individual, spreads to familial, social, national, and global level. So as she is asking, once I have understood and applied for myself, and there is a clarity of fundamentals or the truths or the natural system, I starts sharing with my near and dear ones or the loved ones. Now here the second most important part, along with the clarity and along with my intent that let my children also imbibe this and get such ready such a way that they can traverse through all the different challenging situations of life and can have best in both relative and real or outer and inner. With that intent we are sharing with the children. Here we need to have another couple of aspects or things required, and one thing which comes to my mind immediately is patience. We need lot of patience when we are dealing with our children. Manish Bhai is smiling because he has experience of dealing with two beautiful young daughters. So Manish Bhai knows this. So
All the gray
patience.
hair, Swamiji.
So my intent, my patience, and the ways, methods. So as I'm discussing, I will try to discuss all the three things. We know out of our experience that what the happiness is, what the strength of inner character or the purity or strength of sincerity, strength of morality, and strength of humility. When it comes to the inner strength, along with the mind, three things come to my mind. Humility. When I have the humility, my egoism is so normal that from within also all my energy opens up, the understanding power opens up, and from outside also I get everything. So the first and foremost thing required to be successful and happy in worldly life or even in inner life is utmost humility, and it is a scientific thing. It's a physically scientific thing. Second and third is sincerity and morality. So having understood and applied to myself, I'll share with my children. And the another, as far as the way or method is concerned, what I have learned is in a present time, I will share with my children, not saying them you do this and don't do this, but trying to explain and share the things in a scientific way. Okay, if we do this way, don't you think that this will be the consequences, or it will happen like this? If we do this way, do you think that it can happen like this? And then leave the decision to them. Just explain how, what, when, why, and leave the decision to them. So I think it's very easy, and they will readily accept that, okay, whenever we are trying to help somebody, other children, or sharing, you are sharing your you are giving chocolates or sharing, you may have good books and somebody may not have money, and suppose you are sharing, no sooner you decide to share, don't you become happy first? And say, oh mom, I really become happy first. So these little lights in a daily living, if we can pass on to them, then they will build up and they will decide how to do. They're spending a lot. Daddy, give me money. I want to go to McDonald's and I want to buy this toy. Okay, beta, you can buy this. But suppose you have $100, daddy is going to anyway give you $100. But don't you think that you use it for few dollars for McDonald's burger, but if you use few dollars for distributing chocolates or toffees to these needy children on your birthday or on your good school day, compare the happiness. What would you bring you more happiness? And that will slowly inculcate into them a vision that, okay, let's use the resources available to me for my basic necessities. Let's spare some resources and use it for a higher purpose. But they will not understand higher purpose till the science is opened out into them. So I would see that these small things make them visualize, understand, and make them realize. Similarly, you can make them experience that whenever you enter into clashes, you are right, but what happens to you? Oh, my mood goes off, my day gets spoiled. And if you decide to resolve it amicably, try it sometime, and then they will compare and contrast, and they will have the truth for themselves. So good parenting is a taste, a challenge for within and without, including a lot of patience. that how best we can put across the science so they can see for themselves, they can decide for themselves, and then they will be able to move on. I think this is what I can, and that also needs a lot of strength of mind, believe me, because
Yeah.
our strength gives way, and we think that better give them iPads so they remain busy and then they don't bother us. So there our mind gets weak. Our mind also should be steady that okay, the turmoils may come, but with love we'll collectively cross over those turmoils, because their level is different. They cannot immediately perceive and grab whatever we are telling them. So we have to wait till they can absorb and understand a part of it.
Yeah.
Is that sounds good? For I'm
Yeah.
asking to all the parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we have another question from the audience. Go ahead.
So Amiji, this was very eye-opening as to how the mind works. But the question is, when you're trying to meet somebody for the first time, or you see somebody and you go ahead and talk to them, how can you influence them positively that your words are of use to the other person and you leave on a good note?
See, when I'm going to meet anybody, first and foremost is I am he and he or she is me. It's my world is my own echo, my own projection. So if I remain happy by seeing him or her, my vibrations are going to work on him or her, and he or she also will remain happy. But if I have something bad going on in my, oh, what will happen and why I'm confronted with these people, even though I'm not speaking from outside, that will have the impact on. So first I have to look within. The holistic science says everything, the world within is the most important than the world outside. If the things are correct in the world within, rest assured the things will work good. So no sooner I go to anybody, I have a friendly heart, I have all the good intents and wishes that if my mind, speech, and body can make one and all happy and least not hurt anybody, and then I'm sharing. Influence means I'm not trying to drive the person in a direction or decision which I have made up my mind. No, I'm sharing the things. Okay, this is what I feel. This is what I can understand. And do you think that this will work good for both of us? And here again, intent is, if my intent is, let me look at the interest of the other person first, or make him or her happy, then my interest is automatically subs out. But in the going on the world, it goes reverse way. In the world of business, I have the hidden intent and hidden agenda of mine, which is I'm trying to take care of, and I'm trying to see that why the other person is not going along my way. Because nature is great. No sooner I have that some trick and some hidden things in me, nature alarms, the vibrations go, and nature alerts that person also, let me play safe. This person is not playing any trick, let me be aware. So this is a world is me only, there is no other in the world. And if my heart is clear and if my intents and I'm going along, then there is he or she is me only, there is no other in the world. So there was another very good experiment. A psychiatrist experimented. He was sent to a jail, and he experimented with himself that if I'm suggesting something and people are not taking it, let me look within. What's not correct within me, which is not allowing them to take my words. And he experimented that let me correct within, and the things should get corrected outside. And the holistic scientist also says that one whose mind is totally under one's control means goes along in the line which one's vision or aims or perceptions are saying, then the minds of thousands of people will be under influential control of that mind. But if my own mind is not under my control, if it's not under my own saying, how can I expect Kaushal's mind and Manish Bhai's mind and Rajani Bhai's mind to follow my words or my mind or remain with me? So the secrets lie within. Okay, Kaushal?
Yes.
And if I'm clear within, I will have smiling eyes, confident eyes, smiling face, whatever you say, outside gestures, the things will go well.
That really helps out, Swamiji.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and I think Rajnikant Patel has again posted a question in the chat. He says that you mentioned, Swamiji, that nature gives us results according to our projections and wishes. But how about the timing?
Yes.
I mean, we want something tomorrow.
So you are see that's why I separated the two parts, gross mind. The gross mind or the inner machinery which is working, it's working for the happenings part, which is happening now or in near future. Okay, let me go to see a movie, and then I go online and buy the movie ticket, or I want to go to X city, go on the online and buy the flight ticket or whatever. So that's the gross mind and the inner parliamentary system, and the wishes are in this part. But the subtle part, my state of being, where I'm having the deeper real projections or resolutions. I'll give you some few examples of this. Suppose I have become a doctor, and at that time, even though my parents were not willing, something drove me from with doctor. Now I'm having that practice. My inner vow or projection may have been changed right now. Better I would have been a chartered accountant, or better I would have been something else. So less of tension, more of holidays. Even in my absence, the business goes on. So even though my outer happenings are this way, my inner projections may be different. Now these inner projections are like sowing the seeds. Now, have you seen in the world that you sow the seeds and next moment you get the fruit? Have you seen that? With whatever technology, cloning, genetics, whatever hybrids, and there is always some time between seeds and fruits. The plants come up, the trees and leaves, and the fruit comes. So this is how actually the projections are happening at the more subtler level. And projections depend on the understanding part. From this, let's go to one or more examples, one or a couple of more examples to bring the projection part. Suppose there is some charity activity going on, and you, Manish Bhai and Rajani Bhai and all go to various people. Will you contribute? Somebody contributes $100, somebody $500, somebody 1,000, and you know that these people have this person has a lot of, and he cannot be left for $501. So you sit there, take tea, coffee, snacks, and influence, and take $11,000 check. And Kaushal goes and says, "Oh, you did a nice job. You contributed 11,000. So another people will contribute." So that gentleman says, "Oh, I really didn't want to give this much, but it was so much of force that I had to give." So in happening, he gave, but in the projection, he projected better, I would not have given this much. So this seed, when it translates into his future personality, Prakriti, it bears the fruit, he will not be able to give, even though he have. So similarly, it's working. Another funny example, suppose all of us had blueprint. The male part had blueprint, I want such and such wife, and she should be learned or beautiful, or father-in-law should be rich, and the female part had. Now this had remained inside. Do you think the wife is given immediately, or the husband? No, nature waits for the time. You should be 23, 24, 25, and then all the scientific circumstantial evidences come together. So having known this has a very important bearing that in my present living, because of my past beliefs and past understanding, whatever I had, I'm involved and entangled and engrossed in so many things, which some of the things I like, some of the things I don't like. And I realized that all this relative happiness is giving me happiness, but not the final one, or not the ultimate one. And now if I come across the holistic science way, then inside I decide that I should know what is my true identity, who am I by real virtues, and how can I have experienced that independent happiness and infinite bliss. Let me know that. So that's going on as a seeds, and sometimes the nature will now collect the circumstances at appropriate time, and my journey will start in this way. So the present life and living, or in other words, whatever is happening by way of accumulation and dispersion of scientific circumstantial evidences, there the gross mind and the inner self machinery comes into place. One of the circumstantial evidence, its effect, result, or fruit. The seeds cannot be seen. Whatever is seen and being experienced in the world within and without, and whatever involves the circumstantial evidence is a fruit, effect, or result. The seeds do not involve the circumstances as such, but it involves the understanding with my signature as, yes, I want this, or it should be like this. It's at the level of my state of being. It's independent of circumstances, independent on the present understanding. And then it goes to nature, and at the appropriate time, now the nature gives the result by way of accumulation of the scientific circumstantial evidences. So this is the part which the people of secrets are missing. The people of secrets say you visualize and you attract and you get it, everything. Then everybody should visualize millions of dollars and big palace, and there will be no economic recession. But doesn't go that way. There are so many other contributory factors, and there is some lag also. Okay.
Yep. So, Swamiji, I think this brings us to the end of this talk. Thank you so much for answering our questions. Thank you to all the participants for asking thoughtful questions. We covered a lot of ground. So we added to our knowledge of the mind and its mysteries, and we talked about the power of mind, how we can make resolutions, and how do they come into fruition. You know, there is lag, and you know, the circumstances need to come together. And then you talked about the qualities of mind. You know, it should be compressible, it should be flexible, and it should be able to withstand any tension that you know, is brought about by the circumstances. So I think this is such a vast topic that I'm sure we are going to continue talking about mind in our next session, which is scheduled for March 27th. And Swamiji, if you have any final words to say, please go ahead, and then we'll conclude the talk.
Yes, so the simple summarizing thing is the correct journey starts with the correct understanding. The holistic inner science understandings give us the understanding, correct understanding, light about life, living, my true self, and universe as a whole. Then, as we understand the experiment going on within me, human life is a unique life experiment, the things fall into my place. And the third thing I would like to add is the point which I think can be added to the strength of mind, apart from what we talked, is keep on giving the food to the mind, which will nourish this journey. So some inspirational, some serene, some scientific. As and when we get the time, we take our mind to such things, then it will keep on helping in our journey, because everything has influence on the mind at atomic and molecular level. If we see at the great souls, then we travel towards that road. If we look at something else, then we go into that direction. So food for the mind. And it's said that never keep mind empty. Empty mind is devil's workshop. So once I'm done with my routine commitments or duties or jobs, and even in the office, in between, our mind is spared. You have done your jobs, given commands, and attended the things, and in between also you have few moments, few seconds, few minutes where your inner self or mind is free. And that time also can be used for, again, taking the mind to higher and continue towards our goal by reading something, listening something, visualize, seeing something which takes us or helps our aim or a goal. So utilizing the time and utilizing the inner moments, because inside I am free or independent, along with this understanding, I think that's all makes a complete picture.
Right. Thank you
very much. Thanks a lot.
Good night to everyone in US, and good morning to everybody in India and New Zealand. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.